Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started here, guys, we'll need to run through our risk disclosure. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, before we go there, just one final thing I need to do here. All right, here we are. So just give that maybe a couple of seconds to percolate here a little bit. Hopefully I'm coming across okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Good morning. Okay, awesome. All right. So basically, guys, just want to kind of communicate that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be used as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as an investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to the financial news portal and see what we have there. Hey, Michael, how are you? See what we have in the way of news that could potentially impact the markets today. So we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and turn to that. See if I can locate my financial portal here. Where is that? Disclosure. Let's see if it can. Okay, there it is. All right. Let's make sure that's visible to folks. Good morning. Good morning, Marie. Okay, let's see. Financial juice. All right, here we are. Okay, so just a couple of events here that could have an impact in the markets. So we have a couple of members of the Feds that are going to be talking today. Goolsbee and Musalem. I probably just completely butchered that pronunciation, but nonetheless. I guess the biggest event today is the Michigan Sentiment Index, which is kind of some communication with respect to inflation. Okay, that's the big ticket item, I guess, today at 10 a.m. And that's pretty much what we have. Okay, so again, pretty light in the way of news. All right, so we'll go ahead and turn our attention. Thank you for pulling me. All right. Thank you. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead now and turn our attention to the platform or my charting platform here. So always have an issue here trying to locate that sometimes. So we'll see if I can manage to do that without too much of. All right. Let's see. What to do? Come on. Just bear with me, guys, as I try to get this platform up. It's not behaving at the moment. So we'll see if I can get this display here. It's like it's hiding. All right, here we are. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Have a chart of the gold. It was kind of, I guess, working with some trader here on a gold trade. Kind of had communicated that maybe there might be a little bit of issue here in this area, but looks like it turned out to be a relatively good trade here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart. Okay, so we have a inside candle developing. Okay, so chances are we are going to either break the upside or the downside of the day here. So let's remove some of our drawings. Okay, so again, we have kind of a little bit of an indecisive candle that's developing at the moment in a market that's been quite bullish for some time. Okay, pretty strong bearish candle that we received yesterday, and now we have an inside candle here. Okay, so the question now becomes: do we continue in this general direction? Okay, are we going to continue in this general direction, or is this somehow going to serve as some sort of resistance zone? All right, 4,100 or 40,000. Sorry, 4,000. What's the high here? 4,081. Okay, so again, we have a bearish candle, a pretty strong bearish candle with some volume here on the bottom. Also, if I'm looking at the volume delta bar, also quite significant to the bearish side. Okay, and so the question now becomes: is this the beginnings of maybe a little bit of a pullback in the market? Probably not overdue. I think the market has been quite strong of late. So daily chart, while still remaining bullish, there seems to be maybe a little bit of indication that maybe it's going to have some issues here with moving a bit higher here. Okay, so we're going to have to kind of keep an eye at this kind of 4080 level. 4080, 4000 is probably going to be an area that we need to continue to monitor and see. But it appears that level, right, for at least for now, seems to be an area of some level of resistance. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, you can see that we got to, and I think it actually even broken below here. Okay, yeah, so technically we broke some structure here to the downside with this 4-hour candle. Okay, we broke to the downside here, and now we are I would say in the beginnings. Okay, in the beginnings of maybe some structure that would indicate maybe there is maybe some further downside opportunities in this market. Okay, so the next logical level that I see here, okay, is this level here, right around the 39.20 level. So I'm going to mark that area as maybe an area of some level of support. So it would not be surprising in the least if the market was made a leg to that level before it made any sort of significant reversal in price. Okay. So for our chart, again, as starting to say, maybe show some signs of weakness in this market, in a market that's been quite bullish for some time. Some of the price actions that received yesterday, including during Asia and London, indicates that maybe we do have some sellers in the market. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look and see kind of what the 30-minute chart is telling us and what kind of context we can secure from this review here. Okay, so we had a swing to the downside, right? We had a nice swing to the downside, right? Nice swing to the downside. And now look, you can see that we've had a little bit of what appears to be more of a little bit of a pullback, kind of a bullish pullback, right? But nonetheless, right, so this is kind of what I'm seeing right now. So the natural thing for me to think of at the moment is that maybe the market is going to continue in that direction. Okay, that's kind of my view right now. And if I did a little bit of measure, okay, if I just measured this, I'm just going to do this manually without using the tool here, right? If I measure this, right, and I take that same measure from the top of this, well, that gives me a little bit of a forecast of where price can go potentially. Okay, just following sort of some patterns here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile here and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. I feel like it's probably below, okay, or in some sort of range. So let's see what the answer here is. Okay, so here we are. We are inside some sort of range. We broke to the downside, came back, pulled back, broke down to the downside again, and now we're inside some sort of inside the value zone or value area from yesterday. All right, so let's take a look and see what basically the initial balance is offering us here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this volume here. I don't generally use it. I was maybe as part of an illustration of something else. I have it up. So let's go ahead and move this down. Let's open up the initial balance range. Let's take a look and see what the various markets were able to do with this. Looks like London was able to take this market higher. We're going to go ahead and move this to Asia. Okay, so Asia, we'll take a look at that. Here we are, and basically, so we have Asia. Asia was able to take the market lower, right? It got to a pretty solid. I don't know. Looks like almost 400% extension of the initial balance range here. Okay, so Asia retraced, broke down, retested, and failed. Okay, exactly the A plus kind of setup that we talk about in the group coaching calls for those that attend those. Okay, so we had a nice extension to the downside, a retracement back to that same point, and we got a nice failure to a known area of where we could find maybe some buyers. Since then, we've gotten, looks like, some interest on to the buy side. So if we go ahead and turn our attention to London, right? London, we can see that completely opposite. Okay, we had the range. We had a nice break to the upside. Did not provide us the same kind of opportunity that Asia provided. Did not get a pullback, secondary opportunity to enter the market. Okay, but nonetheless, we do seem to have some, a number of buyers in this market. Okay, right. So we have Asia is bearish, London is bullish. What do we have in store for US? Well, let's take a look and see what kind of initial balance range we're establishing here at the moment. So we'll take a look at this here, if we can display it here. So I would say relatively normal range, maybe a relatively normal range here. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how this 30-minute candle closes. Right now, I'm kind of at the opinion. My opinion here is that maybe the market is maybe looking to extend back down and maybe revisit and maybe remain in some sort of range here for this session. Now, certainly, it's not out of the realm of possibility here that we could reverse. But I'm trying to see if I can locate my VWAP. I don't know. I'm exactly sure what. Okay, there's my visible range volume profile, and then let's see where did I do? Maybe there's VWAP. Okay, and wanted to take a look at my EMA. There's an EMA. Okay, all right. Now things are looking a bit more normal to me. All right. So we have price. We managed to get price above my 9 EMA. So my view is kind of on the bullish side here as we start the London session. Then we get to a point just at the open of the U.S. market, and we managed to close below. Okay, now we have a little bit of a, I would say more of a flat kind of looking EMA. So the question now becomes, are we able to hold below the 9 EMA? Then maybe that could lead us to maybe another leg to the downside, and that would be kind of part of our kind of range opportunities here. Okay. So we'll have to see. Again, I'm going to kind of be monitoring this also with kind of a channel that's going to give me some indication. I'm going to wait for any sort of indication either to the bullish or to the bearish side. Okay, I do know that I have a fair number of bullish traders here, London traders. Right now, the question is going to become is the U.S. going to follow London's direction? Or are they going to try to see if they can get this market to maybe revisit 39.75, maybe 39.70? Okay, so I'm going to be waiting for this initial balance range to establish. I'm going to be waiting for this initial balance maybe to break either side of this initial balance range before I make any sort of decision in this market. Okay, all right. Let's unless there's any questions on the gold market, I would say that right now we're probably, I don't know, kind of. I'm gonna call it bearish to neutral. Okay, but I do see some evidence here that maybe London wants to take it a bit higher. Okay, so I do see that we're still inside some sort of bearish leg here. So that's kind of what's kind of driving the view here. If we start to see price break above, then maybe we can look maybe at opportunities that would lead us back to the highs. Okay. But right now, I see a lot of overlapping price action. It is a bullish channel. It is a bearish channel nonetheless. So we'll have to stay on the bearish side until we see some more evidence that the market can go higher. Okay. All right. Morning all. Sorry for being late. No worries, Alejandro. Just remember. Okay. Where's the VWAP? That's a good question. Where is the VWAP? What happened to my VWAP? ¿Dónde está mi VWAP? Oh, it's black. No wonder you can't see it. Okay, blue. Come on now. Why would it be black? Oh, that's just horrible. What happened to this? I want a solid line, my friend. Here you go. Nice solid line. Who said dots? Sorry, I'm talking to myself. It's therapeutic. All right, here we are. So VWAP, there it is. Okay, somebody was asking about it. So VWAP, I think again, so kind of a mixed bag, right? We got a little bit of a mixed bag of tricks or whatever as far as kind of indications on the market. So we are getting a little bit of reaction off of VWAP. So if price stays above VWAP, maybe we can make a case here for some more upside. If price manages to get below VWAP, then maybe my case on the bear side will play out. Okay. Thank you for the reminder there, Faye. I don't know how I got my platform in this current state, but I must have been doing some sort of work with some videos. Okay. All right, Alejandro, thank you. All right, Alejandro, appreciate your efforts there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Okay, looking at the crude oil market, again, we continue to show signs of weakness in this market. The moment I start to think that maybe, just maybe 61 is going to offer us maybe some level of support, we continue to fall here. Okay. So I would say it's pretty significant here that we're breaking some daily levels to the downside, kind of opening up the door for 60, which we're at right now. And I would say that, as we get closer and closer to this 56 level, I think it's a level that we could potentially come back to. All right. And I don't know who was it that mentioned, people really don't make any money on oil unless it's above 60. So it, I guess, costs more to take it out of the ground than it's worth. Right. So this would be rather significant if price does close below 60. Okay. So nonetheless, on the daily chart, I don't know about you guys, but you can see the slope of my line here on the daily chart, and that is a line not of upside, but a line that of further downside. Okay, so rather bearish on the crude oil. As amazing it may sound, with all the turmoil that we're having in the world with respect to the access to this kind of is bearish. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Okay, we're going to move on to the 4-hour chart here. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance here for a moment. Again, we're still getting continued evidence here. I'm going to turn this off as well. Continued evidence here that, again, we are in some sort of bearish structure here to the downside. All our indicators that we care about, are to the downside. Our 9 EMA, price is below it. VWAP, price is below it. So again, market does appear to be somewhat bearish here at the moment. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, again, you can see very, very obvious. Now, we had mentioned that this 61 level is relatively important. Guess what? We broke through it. Okay, we're down below 61. So guess what? What do you think the next thing I'm going to say? Well, now that we've broken a relatively strong level of support here, it's going to be a resistance on the way back. Okay, so this area right here is going to be somewhat resistant to price on the way back. Right, that's the expectation. Okay, so that's kind of my initial kind of area that I would be focused on from the bearish side. I feel like we are a little bit extended here to the downside. We're going to take a look at the initial balance range here and see where the initial balance, what the various sessions were able to do with this market here. So we're going to go ahead and first start off with the Asian market, if I can get to it here. All right. So we'll start off with Asia here. And you can see that we got a very nice extension, and actually a really, not only a nice extension, but a secondary opportunity here. Again, right up at that initial balance range. So if I'm patient and wait like a patient lion, right, I get a very nice area right here at 6150. We got a nice extension to the downside. I set an alert for myself around the 6150 level, and look at the kind of opportunity that it provided, right? From 6150 all the way down, really no evidence, if I'm using the 9 EMA as my guide, for price to continue in that one direction. I think I need to move, guys. I really need to move to London so that I can trade crude oil. Okay. Because these kind of moves, you know, are it could be game changers for some, right? Certainly will pass a combine or two. Correct. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, well, that's it. That is the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look at the London. Looks like both Asia and London are in sync in this particular case with respect to the crude oil, right? They're not playing any sort of cat and mouse game here, right? Right. So the idea now again is how do we figure out a way to participate in this market? Well, participating to the downside after such an extension to the downside is probably not the wisest thing that one can do, right? But certainly a trade back to VWAP is not out of the realm of possibility. So, but what I would say is that we probably need to focus our attention on some area where we could see maybe some level of strength. Okay. Certainly the VWAP offers us maybe a location to participate in and move that to the downside. The 9 EMA also offers us a location where we could participate to the downside. Right now, a trade to the downside for me, it seems a bit extended. Okay. So very difficult for me to participate in a market that's already made over a full point move to the downside. Okay. So let's go ahead and move this to the US session and see what kind of this is the US session. That's not right. It cannot be right. Oh, there's London. There it is. Okay. Now this is more like it. Okay. So we're developing yet another bearish candle here. So again, good amount of momentum in crude oil to the downside. Now, but again, I would say if we're looking downside, we need some sort of pullback, right? I can't participate in a downside move at these levels without some sort of pullback to kind of manage my risk a little bit better. Okay. Now, if we find some evidence that maybe the market has found maybe a bottom, 60 seems to be a reasonable level for that. If we find a level here that maybe a bottom, maybe we get a little bit of a 3-bar reversal either on the 15 or something along those lines. Maybe we have an opportunity for those counter trend traders in the session for a trade back to 9 EMA, maybe back up to the VWAP. Okay. From a risk reward perspective, that's probably better than taking a short trade when I feel like I have to take a stop all the way back up to 60. I don't know about you guys, but that's too healthy of a stop for me to look for a continuation. So to participate at its current level. So any case, I would say as we enter the session here, crude oil remains bearish. All right. So before we move on to the equity markets, I'm going to follow Alejandro's lead here and encourage folks. I have a fair number of people who've already hit the like button. So thank you so much to those who've already hit the like button, and just maybe encourage maybe a couple more here to see if we can get that up to 12 across the board as far as the likes. To kind of continue to encourage me to kind of provide this analysis for you. Okay. Don't be afraid to give me a comment or two as well. All right. So let's now that I've gotten through my marketing, which is not my strong suit, I have to admit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart in the Nasdaq, and let's see what the Nasdaq is kind of brewing. Okay, so here we are on the Nasdaq. You can see that again, kind of the same kind of line, right? Again, I always ask myself, well, we don't need to make this more difficult than it needs to be, right? We start from the left hand of the chart and look at to the right hand of the chart. Is price higher than the left? Then we're bullish. If price is lower than the left, we're bearish. Okay. Barring any sort of kind of fine tuning we can do with VWAP and the 90 MA, all this kind of fancy indicators, simply we want to look at the chart and ask ourselves, is the market moving up or is the market moving down? Simple as that, right? And then start from there. Okay. So daily chart still giving us indication that maybe there's still some more upside on the opportunities here, right? We got a little bit of a rejection candle as it attempted to head lower here. We have another kind of bullish candle that's developing in this market, right? In an otherwise market that continues to show signs of strength. As funny as it might seem, government is shut down. I think it's still under lockdown, right? And the market still continues to rally, right? Does it make any sense? No. Does it need to make any sense? No. We're not fundamental traders, right? We trade the charts, and we need to follow that along. Okay. So in any case, let's go ahead and given all the kind of uncertainty we have in the government right now, you would think that the market would be a lot lower, and it isn't. It's rallying. Okay, which I find that hard to believe. But in any case, we trade the charts. We don't trade fundamentals. So fundamentals are telling me on the 4-hour chart that maybe we're ranging here a little bit. How do I arrive at that conclusion? Well, I arrive at that conclusion because price is overlapping, right, above and below my VWAP, right? My VWAP is kind of moving horizontal, right? Price is moving below and above it without much issue. What is that telling me? Right? It's telling me that we are in some sort of range. Okay. So yes, we need to remember to be present. Okay. Price is going to go up on a government shutdown, down as of now, at least, right? So again, right now we seem to be in some sort of range. Okay. Again, I'm using the VWAP as kind of my guide here. And if I had to come up with if I had just to look at this area right here, if I had shut this down right here and I just looked at this area right here, just to kind of simplify things, guys, I don't know how best to define range, but that is range in my definition. Okay. This is now, as I get some additional context, it says, okay, where did this range come from? Well, this range came from some bullish price action. So are we in some sort of digestion phase? Okay. Are we in some sort of digestion phase for another leg higher? Certainly possible. Okay. But if that's the case, we need to get above 25,350. Now, I've already given you guys some forecasts of 25,570 as part of this kind of Fibonacci kind of extension kind of analysis that I did for you guys. So that's still, I think, not out of the realm of possibility here, right? Market is still showing signs of bullish price action. We have a developing bullish candle as we speak. So as long as we continue to see bullish price action, yeah, range equals price go sideways. Very good, right? We need to keep this simple, right? So if we're going to remain in this bullish trend, then we need to break above 25,310 or whatever we're at here. Okay, 25,350. We need to get above that level, right? In order to kind of continue to communicate to the world that the price is still looking to go higher. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. All right, 30-minute chart here. Okay, again, you can see evidence of rangy kind of price action. Price is hovering above and below our 90 MA and VWAP. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our fixed range volume profile here. We're going to start off with the start of the Thursday session and look at the close of the Thursday session. And you can see that price technically is above value, right? So what is that telling us? That there's people in the market right now that would rather buy the Nasdaq than sell it. Okay, that's what it's telling. And not only that, they're willing to pay a premium for it. Okay, right now, that's kind of what it's saying. As funny as it may sound. Okay, right here. Okay, we're above value, so folks are willing to pay a premium to be in this market. Okay, so right now, again, of late, we seem to be in some sort of bearish structure, right, to the downside. We made an attempt here to get back inside value, only to find what? Only to find more buyers. Okay, we got back into value, and someone or some set of participants took that as an opportunity to potentially add to their portfolio. Okay, right? We came back into value, scooped up some more, and up we went. Now we haven't really broken any structure here to the upside, but so far the downside moves have been met with more buying. Okay. All right. Let's take a look and see what the initial balance ranges are offering us in the way of understanding. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the Asia session here. Okay. And so Asia was a bit kind of choppy, right? We did manage to get an extension to the 100%, but that would not have been a very easy trade here, right? We got an extension to the downside, a pullback to VWAP, and it offered us maybe a trade that got us a little bit past the 50% extension. Okay. Later, as we got closer to London, looks like London was initially bearish on this market, right? So we got a nice move to the downside in London, but no follow through. Well, I guess some will follow through. We got to the 150% extension, which is not all that bad. Really did not give us an opportunity to enter that opportunity. I will add, right? We got a nice 30-minute candle in one direction, but not really an opportunity. It did not provide us the opportunity that we always look for here, right around the initial balance low, right? On some of these other markets, we got a nice opportunity off of initial balance low for a continuation move. We did not find sellers up and not. So the sellers here are not of the strong variety, right? Why do I say that? Because price retraced all the way through these set of bearish candles. Now they seem to kind of stepped in here, but again, not showing all that amount of how we say strength to continue to drive price lower here. Okay, so as the market looks to open. All right. So what view do I have? Well, I think if you don't know by now, I would say that right now, I would say that I'm probably thinking a little bit more rangy kind of price action. Okay. In this market, it feels like to me that maybe there still are some buyers in this market. Okay. We still haven't broken any upside. I would say significant upside structure here. But we aren't necessarily failing at a significant rate either. Okay, so I would say that entering the market, I'm going to kind of remain in some sort of kind of range mode, right? And then let initial balance or let maybe the first couple of candles tell me what direction they want to take this market. All right. So let's go ahead now and move on, since we have about a little over 15 minutes away from the open of the session here. We'll take a look at the daily chart and see what the daily chart is offering us on the ES. Again, daily chart, again, we're starting to barcode here a little bit, right? We got candles in both directions. We had a bearish engulfing candle followed by a bullish candle. Bullish candle followed by a bearish candle. So again, some more indication. Okay, some more indication. Yeah, I would say, Marie, we're probably in range. Okay, we're probably in range until we get some further evidence, until we see some evidence of some market participants that tell us exactly which direction they want to take it, the market, right? We need to wait for the Bigfoots to come into the market and tell us which direction they want to take this market, right? Okay, so here we are, range kind of price action, right? Overlapping candles up above and below our VWAP. Again, I can't define this any better as far as range, right? So that now the question becomes, okay, I'm looking at this on a 4-hour side, and I see that maybe we've developed a little bit of demand here, right around this 67.60 level. Maybe there's a little bit of demand that's maybe being developed, but if that's the case, then I need to see price get above 67.92, right? 60. If this is really if this is truly a demand zone, and they're not letting price get back inside this area, then the next logical thing for price to do is to break above 67.93. And if it breaks above 67.93, then it needs to get above 6,800. Okay, So these are the kind of logical sequences of things that I need to see in order to embrace the possibility of the market continuing to the upside. If I start to see any sort of weakness around 6,800, okay, if I start to see maybe 3-bar reversal patterns around the 6,800 level, then I can maybe entertain the possibility of a trade to the downside. But I have to be wary that I might stay in some sort of range. It's not really giving me a strong indication that the market wants to move strongly in any one direction. Unlike some of the other markets that we've been looking at, crude oil very strong directionally to the downside. We're not seeing that right now in the ES. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, maybe be a continuation, right? So 67.60 could be a continuation move that would indicate that the market will continue bearish, right? If we want to see, if we're thinking bearish, we need to see lower highs, lower lows. If we're thinking bullish, we need to see higher highs and higher lows. And until we see that kind of sequencing, then we need to adapt accordingly. Okay. Is Monday a public holiday? Yes, it is. It is a holiday in the US. So I don't anticipate, I could be wrong. I don't anticipate that the market's going to be open on Monday, but I could be wrong. Okay. But yes, it is a holiday. Yeah, I have it as a paid holiday as well. Okay. All right. Let's see. What was I going to do here? I was going to take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's see where price is in relation, but it does feel like it's inside some sort of range here. Surprise, surprise. It's kind of been the theme for the equities today. So here we are. Actually, I think Nasdaq was slightly above, right? So, and again, we're at that value area high level. Okay. So we're at the high end of a discount. Okay. Right. So if we are buyers of this market, which we still seem to see evidence of this, then again, we need to get above 67.90, right? I'm going to go ahead and draw not a channel per se, because the fact that we got some kind of crazy candle here that doesn't follow the pattern here, but I will draw a trend line. Okay. So this is going to be my trend line. Right. As long as we stay below that trend line, I have to look bearish. If we get above it and maybe retest it, maybe we make a leg back to the highs here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the initial balance ranges across the various markets here. So we'll start off with the Asia session. We'll take a look at the Asia session here, and you can see here Asia was initially bearish. Actually, not the prettiest of price action, to be honest. Very difficult to trade this. So we did manage to get an extension to the downside. The bears were not all that strong because the price reversed and touched the other side of the initial balance range before it continued its move to the downside. Looking at the London is I think it looks like it might have been bullish here at some point. Sure enough, we got our nice reversal off the 100% extension, and we managed to get to the other side of the initial balance range to once again find sellers. So again, guys, we came back to a level, right? And what did market do? Exactly what it did before, sell off, right? Now the question becomes: are we going to be able to make a higher low? Is this candle going to give us a higher low? If it gives us a higher low and we break above 67.90, maybe we have a chance to revisit 6,800. Okay, maybe we have a chance to revisit 6,800. Okay, right? If we can break that trend line, that bearish trend line, maybe that's the destination for this move, and that would make sense, right? We would revisit the conviction of some of these sellers that kind of stepped into the market here yesterday. Okay. So that's kind of my kind of view here of the ES, right? So right now we're starting to see maybe a little bit in the way of some maybe bullish structure here. We're starting hovering above or below the VWAP. VWAP is kind of sloping in the wrong direction at this point. So I'd like to see maybe a VWAP could offer me a little bit more guidance here. I'm going to go open up my anchor VWAP, and I'm going to use this kind of pivot during London, maybe to serve as a guide here. So you see that baby blue line? Well, that baby blue line is probably going to be a kind of an indication I can use to maybe offer me some insight as to whether we can continue in the bullish direction. I would say an important level for the bulls is to be able to get above 67.90. If it's not able to get above 67.90, either we're going to stay in this range or the potential of coming back to 67.75. Okay. All right. Trend line aligns with the long bar. Okay. It appears bears don't step in. We should push higher. Yes, I think so. Okay. It's possible. But the thing is, we don't play on absolutes. We play on probabilities, right? So we need evidence of whatever hypothesis we have, just like any sort of scientific endeavor, right? We need evidence of whatever activity or direction we expect out of the markets. Right now, until we can get above this trend line, right? Yes, we're waiting for confirmation. We're sitting on our hands, waiting for confirmation on our hypothesis. So our hypothesis is that we have a potential of heading higher. What we need to see is price to get above 67.90 and then maybe retest 67.90 for a move back to 6,800. That's my current hypo. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the YM here, the Dow. Okay. And the Dow showing, again, a little bit more strength maybe than some of these other markets. Dow certainly above the 9 EMA, above the VWAP, above the London's initial balance range. So the Dow, again, appears to be a little bit of a leader here in this respect, at least. Okay. So let's take a look at the daily chart. Daily chart. Again, we have we had price come down to a level where we would expect to see some buyers, and the buyers have at least responded. They've woken up here. Okay. So this 46,630 level, we have a developing candle that is bullish. Okay. So market, over the last few days have kind of retraced here a bit, but it's following, right? It's following yet a trend line, right? So again, if I'm not a channel guy, well, then I can draw maybe a trend line to help me guide me as to the direction. So as long as we're following that trend line to the upside, well, I have to think upside, right? If we start to get some price to close below the trend line, then we can probably continue maybe the view that maybe the market is looking to head lower. All right. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour. Okay. 4-hour chart. I'm going to turn off initial balance here for a moment. Right now, we are in some sort of channel here. This is a little bit easier for me to draw a channel, right? Channel to the bearish side. Okay. So right now, short-term wise, we have to think maybe a little bit more bearish, but we are at a level, right? Looks like we are developing a little bit of a demand again, right? We had a bullish candle, 3-bar reversal pattern here to the bullish side. We did not manage to make a new low before buyers stepped in. What is that telling us? Well, looks like maybe there's a possibility that we head higher. Okay. That's kind of what it's telling me. And it's happening at an area, a nice reference level to support that view. Right now, we're again waiting to see if price can get above our 9 EMA. It's already kind of working its way above our VWAP. Can we get the price to close above our 9 EMA and maybe offer us maybe an opportunity back to the highs here around 46,871, 46,870? Okay. Let's take a quick look at the 30-minute chart here and see. So we were looking at London earlier. Okay, so looking at London earlier, you can see that London is beginning to develop some structure here to the upside, right? We're breaking some structure here to the upside. We're above the initial balance zone. So that, again, this could offer us maybe an area where we get to maybe the 200%, maybe the 100% extension. And maybe at that point, maybe that will cause maybe sellers to step in. I'm not sure. Maybe we could take this area here and draw a little bit of a retracement if our view is more bearish. Right, we could take a retrace some of these retracement levels from this swing down below and look maybe for some areas of reversal. The 200% extension doesn't seem to be a bad area from London, around 46,760. Okay, take a look here at Asia to see what Asia was able to do with this market here. Asia was pretty much in range, really didn't offer us any indication on direction. London is being a bit more bullish. Okay. So the question now becomes, will the US follow what appears what London wants to do with this market? All right. All right. Let's see, with about 6 minutes to spare here, guys, we'll make one final pass across the various markets here And in the meantime, again, kind of begin my last ditch effort here to encourage folks to subscribe, leave likes and comments in the portal here. All right, so let's see if I can get this chart to behave here, and then we'll continue. Okay. All right. So looking at the gold, I'm going to go ahead and open the. Well, let's take a quick peek. Okay. So we came down to VWAP. Looks like we found some buyers. Price extended London to the upside. Okay, we've retraced back to VWAP, and now we were developing yet another bullish candle. Okay, so we're seeing some signs of bullish kind of price action at the moment. Okay, in the gold market, if I take a look at this on the U.S. session here, again, looks like we are developing a range. We're about to close our initial balance range for gold. Okay. And now the question becomes, are we going to extend higher? If so, the next logical location for this would probably be up here around, I don't know, 4,039. Okay, from its current levels. So I'm seeing some bullish price action in the gold at the moment. Crude oil continues not to disappoint. We continue to see some bearish price action. I would say that we are maybe a little bit extended to the downside. We did manage to get as low as 59.58 in this market. Again, I think we need to wait and be patient to see if price does come up to maybe a level of strength to again continue to sell. Okay. Looking at the equity markets. Okay. Looking at equities. So again, we're seeing a little bit of in the way of range kind of price action. I would say that the Dow seems to be a bit weaker to me than say maybe these other equities. Okay, so again, we're following this kind of bearish kind of channel here, and I say channel, but I hesitate because of this area here. So right, so we did break to the downside, but not able to hold it. Right, so this is kind of a little bit of a fake out here. Right, we broke the channel to the downside, probably try to get some sellers to step in here, only to trap some sellers to drive price higher again. Okay, so market again, I would say a little bit on the neutral side. We are in some bearish structure at the moment, or I guess bearish channel. So as long as we remain in this bearish channel, I have to think lower in the NASDAQ. Looking at the ES, okay, ES again, same viewpoint. As long as we remain below the trend line, I have to look to the bearish side. If we break the trend line to the upside, then I can use that trend line maybe for an opportunity for bullish price action. Maybe that could lead me back to 6,800 and beyond. And then last but not least, the Dow. Okay, and I think the Dow is showing the most strength. Honestly, we're actually beginning to break this structure here at the left-hand side. So probably a little bit more bullish, okay, on the Dow than maybe some of these other equity markets, just because of the fact that we have price above the 9 EMA and above our VWAP. That indicates to me that maybe there is some more upside opportunity in a market, in a swing that is bearish. So we have to be careful here, guys, that this area does not produce, especially along this area up here, that could produce maybe yet more selling to the downside. Okay, so I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Today being Friday, again, I'm going to give you my capital preservation kind of speech here. If you've had a good week, don't let Friday be the day where you give it all back. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good call, Marie. I think that's a very good executive decision that you can make. Let the market tell you which direction, and then you figure out ways that you can participate in that market. So yes, I think that's a very good call, and I would say I would encourage others to heed Marie's advice. Okay, because after all, she is the matriarch here. Okay. All right, guys. I think that is pretty much it for me, guys. So assuming that Monday is indeed a holiday, I don't believe that Monday will offer any sort of session here. I don't know for sure, but I believe that's the case. So obviously there's not going to be a pre-market review if there's no market. Okay. So again, if you're not already a subscriber, I will most likely provide a weekly review. Okay, so there'll be a weekly kind of review of the session as we head into the week, but most likely no pre-market review session. The Monday will be a well-deserved day of rest for me. Okay, and kind of regenerate some energy here for the coming week ahead here. Okay. All right, guys. So I think that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and prepare myself for the market and walk up and get myself a cup of Joe, as they say, and prepare myself for the market ahead. And that's pretty much it. Okay, yeah, I'll see some of you in Discord, offering whatever insights I can on the market. Otherwise, if we don't talk, enjoy your holiday break, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back at this in earnest on Tuesday. Okay, you too, Michael. Okay. Thank you. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. Market's about to open or has already opened. So let's trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day, guys, and we'll talk again next week.